Looks like we have our first map, Wavelet. Looks like the players are ready to go.
Alrighty, guys, well, let's hop on in.
All right, in the top right spawn, we have Gypsy as the blue Terran.
Very nice. And looks like cross map, we have Mihu as the red Terran.
All right, so do you think Mihu actually watches any games from his opponent? Does he gain some scouting info on them before their matches, or does he really not care and just plays how he's gonna play?
I really don't know, honestly. I mean, I think that there could even be like a potential barrier, like to just like figure out who your opponents are. You know what I mean? Like, I guess if you like Google Gypsy, he probably comes up pretty quick. But I don't know, you know, does he speak good English? Like, is he able to, or is there like kind of a language barrier that he needs to work with as well?
Well, yeah, there for the interview Zero conducted with the two Chinese players, they used a translator.
Oh man, yes, that's gonna be pretty difficult. Does he? I mean, like, because Gypsy does a lot of his, you know, pretty much everything on Twitch, right? Like, I know that it's highly unlikely that China has like a really huge Twitch scene, so he may not even really have a good idea of where to go to find replays.
And looks like cross map, so we're gonna probably head into a longer game. The kind of vulture maps you see on 2-player maps or 3-player maps, when you get cross map in a 4-player map, it's just a lot less effective. The distance to get across the map, even for speed vultures, is significant enough that there's really no point in going for like really aggressive early game strats. And well, we'll see. Both players have played standard from what we've seen in most of their matches, and it's gonna be factory expand from both to open up.
All right, so since, as you said, you know, early vulture play is going to be a lot less significant, I would assume then that we're not going to really see too much aggression off of 2 base getting started at all.
All right, so factory going down for both players. Looks like a depot first from the Chinese player, but I mean, this is not significant. So I gotta tell you, in our small break, do you know what happened to me? It was actually insane how chaotic a couple of minutes, like the amount of things that could happen.
What? Okay, so what happened?
All right, so in our house, we actually store the eggs in the closet just so they're out of the way. And I thought at first, like, don't you need to refrigerate the eggs? But it actually doesn't matter. As long as the temperature they're at stays the same, they don't actually go bad. So whatever, they're in the closet. Wife's making lunch. She's like, okay, can you get a couple eggs so I don't disturb your cast? And I'm like, sure. I go in the closet, and I didn't realize, like, my desk, I keep it in the closet and I pull it out so I can cast on cast days. So I pulled the desk out, didn't notice I knocked the box of eggs on its side.
No.
And it's like, we're not talking about a dozen eggs or 2 dozen. We're talking about 180 eggs, 15 dozens.
Oh my god.
And I look at the closet and there's so many eggs. There's like 13 broken eggs. I'm like, holy crap. So then I give 4 eggs, all right? And in the handoff, I dropped 2 of them, so 2 more eggs are broken. Right now,
that's chaos.
Yeah, so right now there's about 15 broken eggs in the closet and like 2 more outside. I haven't even told like what happened. I'm gonna clean that up secretly later. Hopefully no one finds out.
Oh no. That's terrible. That is so chaotic. You weren't even gone for very long. How many eggs did you break a minute? Like 6? Jeez.
Well, and that's my story. And it looks like, let's go back into the game where we have basically mirror builds, floating barracks, and I mean, everything looks like a normal TVT here. We actually have Gypsy. I mean, Gypsy really likes the vulture play, just being out on the map, laying those mines. And Mihu looks like standard. Transfer to his net, both about the same time. And he is also going to the vulture play. So this is, I mean, this is one way to open in TVT. Sometimes you see tank alive just to start off. Sometimes you see mass vulture, 3 factory, and Usually this leads, when both players do the same, you just see more vultures being made, because you never want to be the one that didn't make vultures and then you just get overrun.
Oh no. Yeah, and as you said, because of how Vulture's such a mobile unit, you can just get that snowball going really fast. All right, so the one Marine providing a little bit of early pressure here, but the reinforcement actually gets here quite quickly. So now Gypsy, well, okay, Gypsy unfortunately a little bit losing out on that trade there, so kind of going sent home to lick his wounds. We'll have the defender's advantage for a little bit, but as those upgrades for the Vultures start to kick in, Speed Vulture is going to be able to run across the map very quickly and reinforce here. I mean, I feel like Gypsy doesn't just lose here, right? Like,
no, like by the time Mihu gets across the map, Gypsy will have units pop out of his factory, and looks like he's actually going into the starport. I think that's a starport. This barracks is actually very annoying. Gypsy's doing everything he can to make sure this barracks doesn't land and just mess with his unit AI.
yeah,
It's a common
so
tactic
fire.
in this matchup. And it is a starport, and looks like still only 3 factories, only 1 gas. I thought earlier I saw Mihu try to take that second gas, so he doesn't take it. And I mean, Gypsy's perfectly fine, and we are seeing the 5 factory vulture from Mihu, which is a very common follow-up to the 3 fact opening. And Gypsy's mixing it up. He's going into Wraith. Wraith is actually, I mean, I'm not really, it doesn't really apply because ZVZ mutas are like the predominant unit, but 1 Wraith changes what your opponent has to do. Like, they can't just make tank vulture, which is what they want. They have to get some kind of anti-air.
Oh man, we have chat freaking out over one of the donation names. Just for the record, that just means black dog. Okay, just calm down, chat. It's cultural difference here. We're totally fine, guys. But man, Wraith has been, we've seen a lot of them so far. Has this been kind of a normal turn of events these days? I know that, I mean, they're not such a crazy aberrant strategy or anything like that, but we've seen it like in like every game so far in our TVTs.
Well, the way normal TVT goes is, all right, you get your 3 factories, you make vultures, then you get 5 factories, you make more vultures, lay mines, get speed, and then you go into 3 add-ons with tanks, eventually take a 3rd, and then you go Wraith, right? So only then, after you have 3 add-ons with tanks, 2nd gas, 3rd gas on the way, you make Wraith. But Gypsy is going Wraith right away after vulture, so it's actually pretty fast. He's gotta, I mean, he's just being annoying here. You see 1 Wraith is actually not gonna do a lot of damage. What it is gonna do is gonna force the other Terran to make anti-air. And Gypsy behind this, because he has a lower tank factory count, he actually has to go right into tanks. And with 2 tanks at the front, like, the vultures just won't be able to break through here. He's gonna go for it, but again, the 2 tanks at the front with the depot wall, he's keeping the vultures back, so Gypsy's playing well. He even has the depot at the front. Just very nice play, forces the Goliaths, and I mean, this is so many mines from Terran, like, you could see the benefit to going vultures. But Gypsy,
Yeah, you just don't want to walk out into this.
Yeah, Gypsy's building up his tank count. He's building up his scan critically. He's gonna kill this Rax finally, and it's gonna give him some room to breathe. And eventually, he's gonna get his own 5 factories up.
Well, this is kind of a nice little moral victory. Super annoying to have to make that barracks again and before you're able to commence additional factory construction. But yeah, it's so funny. I always love to see Wraiths just tickling SCVs to death. Like, you can't really accomplish anything. But it's like it's so interesting because, like, units don't necessarily have to be super powerful in this game to be able to have some kind of function. Like StarCraft 2, they made the Wraiths into essentially like flying Dark Templars, and Wraiths in this game are still totally worth building despite the fact that they do almost no damage at all to ground.
Yeah, and Gypsy, with this switch into tanks, like you see, no amount of vultures is going to be able to break this. He's actually going into a 3rd right away off of only 3 factories. He's mixing in drops, and he also has these drapes. So he's doing a lot of things at once while Mihu is only making ground units. So it does open up Gypsy to a potential bust here if he's not careful. It looks like the vultures moving out of position. There's nothing here to support these tanks. Looks like just in time he sees it. He's bringing everything back. The 2 Wraiths actually not going to do anything here. It's really tanking fire. The tanks of Gypsy targeting well. You can see they're splashing the tanks from our Chinese player Mihu.
Ooh.
And looks like
it looks like Gypsy might just barely defend here.
Yeah, with those tank connections going off, that was actually the key there, because Mihu had a large ground army, but it was mostly vultures, and just mostly vultures not going to do a lot there. And with the targeting, Gypsy actually did an excellent job defending there. Now we see him doing 2 vulture drop at the net, probably going to see 2 in the main, and I mean, he's already taking his 3rd, so he's going to set up himself for a nice economic lead here.
Yeah, this is an awesome little drop here. Couple of vultures coming out of the factories to start working on the vultures in the main, but the vultures at the natural still getting a lot of work done as well. A really clever play here. I really like it. You know, I was so worried though for Gypsy's army there, because those vultures having left the tanks like right at that critical moment, I thought that was going to be the end of his tank count. But Gypsy playing really well here and looking to buy himself quite a significant advantage in this kind of mid portion of the game.
Yeah, the key there was actually Gypsy's control during that engagement, and the fact that Mihu had already laid all his mines, so he couldn't use them offensively there against the tanks. You saw Gypsy target the tanks, but on top of that, he actually put his vultures behind his own tanks, so that Mihu's vultures would only target his tanks. So very good control there in that engagement from Gypsy. And I mean, he set himself up for this nice economic advantage. He has this significant tank advantage as well, because Mihu lost all of his and he only had 2 add-on. And I mean, he's got to be careful with these mines. Don't really, I mean, one mine going off here could be disastrous, so close to the mineral line.
Man, that was actually a really great point about the mines too, because he had pre-laid all those minefields. When his vultures got on top of those tanks, they really don't do that much damage to tanks with their auto attacks. So yeah, wow, very impressive stuff here. Mihu now kind of just like moving around the map, looking for vulnerabilities, any kind of place where he could maybe gain some advantage here, but Gypsy being pretty fastidious with his army control here, locking everything down with siege tanks everywhere where it's important. He's got his 3rd base now walled off from the northern portion, so he can really keep that safe from any kind of run-bys. And Gypsy is just going to enjoy kind of a nice little economic lead here going forward. And as you said, he survived with like, I think it was like 3 or 4 tanks left after that fight. So pretty significant tech advantage as far as the composition of his army right now. We're seeing just swarms of vultures continuing to be created here by Mihu. And the longer that this goes on, the more I'm going to be worried for him. This army's really not very powerful at all right now.
Yeah, Gypsy has an add-on advantage. I think they're both working on +2, which is like where the big damage spike happens for tanks. And the vultures, they're not going to really be great fighting units any longer in this game. Gypsy doesn't seem to be making any anti-air though, and he hasn't made any more wraiths. And Mihu is slowly transitioning actually into wraiths, which is probably the only thing I would say that's in his advantage. Like, he's gonna have air superiority if he commits. But look how many tanks Gypsy has, and he actually has even more vultures. He's got to be careful. Mihu, he's moving into the tank fire, he's retreating away, but Gypsy moving forward as well, and you can see, oh my god, Gypsy just wins so convincingly.
Oh my god.
I mean, Gypsy, he has an opportunity now to go for the kill. The only thing he doesn't have is anti-air, but it's just, there's not that much brace. I mean, he's really going for it. I think he's taking a 4th behind us as well. He's got to be careful though. Siege tanks are attacking. Looks like he's going to be able to get in siege, but he's even laying mines on the tanks. And I think Mihu doesn't really have anything behind this.
Dude, Gypsy looking so awesome there. What incredible plays. The vultures catching that gigantic army out, getting an insane concave, and then bringing the tanks up to follow up. But he is absolutely steamrolling through all the units that are left here from Mihu. Mihu about to get his bases kind of contained at this point.
And this is a very forward siege line for Gypsy. And if he wants, he can run vultures around through the other path. And I'm looking, I thought I saw, okay, just 1 wraith. So really 1 wraith is not going to do anything. You really want to get up to like 4 or 5 so you can start really forcing your opponent to make lives. Because right now, Gypsy's really comfortable. He's just massing tanks. And I mean, Mihu's in a bit of trouble here. And Gypsy has been taking control of this game pretty convincingly. Even has a 4th base set up. Dropship, but I mean, mostly focusing on the ground units.
Oh man, and Gypsy cutting off every route to kind of move out on the map for Mihu, just cutting everything off right before Mihu's about to push up to that high ground. He just cuts him off with his vultures and then follows up with tanks. Like even a tiny, like look at this. All of the routes that Mihu could possibly use to get through here are being cut off and contained by tanks and vultures. This is insane. Gypsy has complete map control, is going to be able to expand with impunity as his economy grows and really just kind of snowball out of control. We have a huge move out here. Mihu trying to push up into the 5 tanks here of Gypsy. We have 3 Goliaths in the back, but the tank count for Mihu at this particular location is really great. Takes an excellent engagement, doesn't lose. I don't think, did he lose a single tank? That one's on his last leg. There's like a leg missing on the tank pilot or whatever. The guy's totally messed up, but I don't think he lost a single one. So that is a pretty huge victory. Mihu finally gets to take a little bit of pressure off of himself. But Gypsy does still have all these other routes here, and here comes a reinforcing army. Tons of tanks flowing down here. The vultures getting really quickly up in the tank's face as well and drawing that fire while the tanks get sieged up. Look at this massive siege line. Oh my gosh, and all these units are just getting sieged up in range, so Gypsy going to be able to just clear all this out with a nice little scan to provide vision.
Yeah, no +2 quite yet for either player. Gypsy has +1 just finished, so that means +2 is about to be complete. Gypsy even taking a 5th base here, and he's taking bottom right as well. So Gypsy's just expanding all over the place. And I mean, when you have map control in Terran versus Terran, you just waste your minerals on command centers. You don't even worry about if you can defend them or not. And he's finding an opportunity here. He's gonna deny the space from Mihu, and I mean, he's waiting for that +2. That +2 is gonna be a huge damage spike. 4 add-ons for Gypsy. He's just able to produce a ton of tanks. I'm surprised Mihu, I guess he's feeling a lot of pressure. He hasn't made any switch into Wraiths, because Wraiths are really what would allow him to have some breathing in here.
I really like how Gypsy's being creative, continuing to add to his options for this game here. He's got multiple dropships in production now, so this is going to be just another tool for Gypsy to kind of continue to put the brakes on the economy and the ability for Mihu to really play the game that he wants to play. I'm really curious where he decides to drop. But oh man, just another huge push out for Mihu. He's being very determined about getting kind of the chokehold that Gypsy currently has on the map off of his mini map. But you know, Gypsy, it's really hard to attack into tanks super efficiently without committing a ton of units to one location. I'm actually really surprised to see the type of armies that Mihu's been able to field. Oh no, gigantic drop gets spotted here. I wonder if Mihu was paying attention. That does get the scan though, so he does see the fleet of dropships, and that is going to clue him into the potential for a big doom drop into one of his bases.
Counter drop here from Mihu to defend this base, but it looks like one tank actually in range for Gypsy.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Not able to deal with that command center. I mean, that last tank, and the command center is now under threat. And I mean, Gypsy just everywhere. Mihu actually taking a 4th at the bottom right, but Gypsy already has 6 bases here, and he has a huge economy. So I mean, more dropships being added. I mean, Mihu has a fighting chance in this game if you get a 4th base, but slowly he's losing control of the map, and looks like SCVs being sent to that 4th base now. Finally, okay, these are Gypsies. No, these are Mihu's vultures. So he's taking control of the south side of the map.
Okay, the dropships once again getting spotted out where they are. A big army getting dropped out here, but the vultures are able to get on top of this pretty quickly. No damage really dealt by those vultures here though, and a lot of the supporting units actually getting cleared up really quickly. So now, once again, Mihu getting kind of caught in this like gigantic. Oh my gosh, and we still have units inside the dropship, so we're dropping directly on top of these siege tanks, clearing them out for free. Wow, Gypsy playing so well right now.
Yeah, now the 4th is under attack, and the mid-left base actually got denied. Gypsy actually taking controls of 3 mains. He even has the natural at top left. He's pushing into the 4th base of Mihu, and I think this is going to be the final blow here. If he loses his base, he's just going to have nothing left to follow us up.
Yeah. No tanks here, and nowhere for these SCVs to go either. So even if he tries to save this base by lifting off, the SCVs don't have anywhere to go. They're just going to get shredded by tank fire.
Yeah, you see Gypsy, now he's going to go into math race, and this is just like the easy way to end the game. You just go into math race, and it makes it easier to attack. You don't have to deal with tank lines, and he already has the superior ground army, so having the superior air army as well, will just make it a lot easier for him to end this game. It's like Mihu's gonna do a little bit of a counterattack to top left. If he can deny these spaces, it'll really slow down Gypsy, but again, just too much from Gypsy. He even has the mobility from the dropships to defend bases. Even the mines alone buying time, and I mean, you can see this is just too much.
Yeah, Gypsy with a huge supply advantage, ridiculous sized bank, all the bases he could ever want. Gypsy's just gotta take his time, make sure he doesn't throw super hard into some kind of ridiculous terrible attack. But I mean, he's got this one in the bag, man. Looks like we do have those 2-1 upgrades on our units and everything going good. Looks like we're even switching into a whole bunch of starports, so maybe we're gonna see a transition into, what do you think, like a bunch of BCs?
I think Wraiths, and then I don't think it'll get to the state where you need BCs, but eventually if the game goes on long enough, but I don't think it will. I mean, even if Mihu denies 1 base or even 2, look at how much of the map Gypsy has.
Yeah, and Mihu's very sad little expansion, evacuating what units they can. You know, a nice drop here. Gonna deny that base, but really it doesn't seem to matter too much to Gypsy at this point. He's got all the resources and all the map control that he could ever want. Sure, if he loses this, you know, he's gonna have to reestablish it or make a new base somewhere, but you know, is he even gonna lose it? Look at this gigantic fleet of dropships. Just a huge Terran army dropping out of this. Disgusting amount of units coming out. Dropping right on top of these siege tanks. They can't even fight back. Oh my gosh. What a whooping, man.
Goliath's not even able to kill the dropships, and I mean, I'm not really sure what Mihu's waiting for here.
Maybe he's got like a hot pocket in the oven. He's just like waiting for it to finish before he decides to GG and go eat it.
You can see Gypsy even moving forward, gonna kill this tank, and I mean, actually the SUVs might kill the tanks, but nope, gonna support it with drops. You going to the top side of the map, but I think Gypsy has enough there to defend. He's gonna go for the third, the last mining base of Mihu, and behind this, of course, he was banking up Wraiths, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has like a control group of Wraiths ready to intercept the attack at top.
Man, Gypsy putting on quite the show this game, looking excellent. That was not how, I mean, that was super decisive.